Welcome. It's the late shift, so I'm not going to try and bore you to death. Today we're going to have a look at innovations in home and office Wi-Fi, a bit of crystal ball viewing, etc. And let's understand what's going on. This is just awesome.
Stole my slide.
Did you have it? This is just brilliant, right?
Where's battery?
And this is exactly it, guys. This is reality on the ground, right? Wi-Fi is the cornerstone of what we do today, right? My 3-year-old, I've got a three-year-old a couple of years back. We went down on holiday. We got to the holiday home, and the first thing he did was, he says, but I don't have any Wi-Fi. You're not supposed to have Wi-Fi on holiday. But that's a dependency that we as individuals, unfortunately or fortunately, have built with Wi-Fi. Very strong relationship, interpersonal. Let's just have a look at some changes in the world that's affecting all of us and will continue to affect us going forward. 4 billion users will be online by 2020 due to mobile phones. Okay? 70% of consumers will have internet access through mobile phones by 2018. Wi-Fi data usage exceeds that of mobile 3 times. Okay? 65% of mobile users use their phone either at home or outside the property, but if in essence that's their key medium of gaining access to the internet. Continuation. If we have a look at the Internet of Things, there will be approximately 1 trillion sensors connected to the internet by 2022. That's not a long time from now. 68% of internet traffic will be generated by Wi-Fi and mobile devices. Today, as we stand here, 50% of all data is generated through Wi-Fi or through your mobile phone. 50% of smartphone data traffic will be expected growth of smartphone data will continue at least till 2021. Right. So, industry wireless trends. We've seen the rise of mobility, mobile handsets. In the early days, it was a nice big brick that we used to carry around. We loathe to carry around. It's become very slim. It's become very clever. It's given us access to Wi-Fi connectivity. Analytics is becoming a major focus within the Wi-Fi industry. Not just traditionally the fixed line operators or the cellcos obviously would utilize analytics for a number of reasons. This is now becoming very relevant within the Wi-Fi environment. Cloud-based services is a key driver going forward as well. And then, of course, IoT, Internet of Things. Internet of Things is the next wave. And we'll start with a connected home and a connected office. Can you guys read this? No. I can't read this. This is scary. Sorry, guys. Basically, we, in the 90s, from 1990 to the year 2000, it was basically Web 1.0. We had a nice big fat PC at the office. We chunked down on the keyboard, and it spit us some, arbitrary information. Not too sexy at all. In the 2000s, the phones became a bit smarter, they became lighter, Wi-Fi became more prevalent, and it gave us things like social media started taking off, right? And then Web 3.0 is the Internet of Things, and this is where it really starts getting interesting. We've got machine-to-machine communications that's taking off. The way we interact, we're becoming way more dependent on having access 24/7. And this is exactly where the industry or the business is going. Before we go there, though, we need to remind ourselves where Wi-Fi was and where we are today, and then probably where we're going to end up. So if you have a look at a typical residential Wi-Fi network in the mid-2000s, you probably had 1 or 2 networked devices. You would have a laptop, possibly, or you would have a desktop with a very sexy NIC Wi-Fi card and you would have access to an AP. You would probably have 2 to 4 cable devices, a printer, a scanner, something to that order, and Wi-Fi, at best at that time, would probably give you 54 megs connection speed, at best. Typically 11. If you had a lot of money, you could get 54. And ADSL was king. We loved ADSL, right? It was affordable. It worked okay for what we wanted to do. And hey, we could even get 1 meg. Again, if we could afford it. That was cool. Backhaul was the bottleneck in those days. Your local LAN had enough access for your 1 or 2 devices to, in harmony, work and connect to the internet. High-capacity backhaul has enabled the birth of Internet of Things. Some stats on fiber. The global fiber to the home market reached 181.7 million subscribers by June 2015. Fiber to the home could reach more than 360,000 active subscribers in South Africa by 2019. I personally believe we'll exceed that. Because if you look at the uptake in suburbs, I had a chat to one of our ISP partners, and he said typically in a given suburb, they would have an uptake of about 200 users for ADSL within a suburb. He says that same suburb, they've got 2,500 applicants for fiber. Outstrips it about 10 to 1. So why? Why are they doing that? By 2020, it is predicted that 24 billion devices will be connected to the internet. Vast majority will use some form of wireless form of access. Okay? Now we look at the new home, the new office. It's transformed into this. It is not as simple as the couple of slides back where you had the single AP to connected devices, right? You've got your operator infrastructure. You've got your broadband network. And this is our homes, guys. Very conservatively, at least 10 to 12 network devices are currently in a home. If you're a family of 4, I would assume all 4 would have cell phones. Most likely all 4 would have tablets, right? You would then most likely have a smart TV, etc., etc. Over-the-top services are growing. Video on demand, Wi-Fi calling is a technology that I think will be utilized significantly going forward. There's a lot of pros to utilize this. Home security, home automation, social networking we all use. And the kicker here is, opposed to the year 2000s, ADSL is dead, right? I heard just before the break, the question was asked, so what happens with ADSL? Is there a market? No, there is. Fiber to the home broadband wireless access is the new king. Higher capacities, 10 meg to 100 meg to a gig. Again, I'm using 100 meg purely as a home reference. It's a stable connection. It is reliable. However, it is Wi-Fi that is driving over-the-top services enablement, not the fiber. The fiber gives you the access to the internet. Your Wi-Fi device in your house or in your office will ultimately determine if you can enable over-the-top services properly and if you can provide proper access to your customer base. We need to have a relook at Wi-Fi, in other words, right? It needs to be addressed, the demand of the modern home and the office. We need to deliver better Wi-Fi performance for your business and for your home. Why? Because we've got 10 times the capacity need. We've got multiple devices running around at home and at office, and we need to be able to service these demands properly. Address your business issues. Security, right? How do we secure the network properly? Onboarding of our employees, onboarding of our customers that visit our sites, and then ease of access. With BYOD, how easy is it for me to connect to the local LAN at the office? Or how difficult is it? Right? The typical frustration that I'm hearing in the market is, and you guys raised this issue earlier in the discussion, the minute the service is bad, the comment is made, "Ooh, but the fiber line is terrible." Okay? It's actually not. It's the Wi-Fi unit that's delivering that service. It's at the edge of the network. We need to have a look at the deployment needs. Not one customer's needs will be the same, right? So the technology needs to be able to adapt itself to service multiple verticals in a similar fashion. And ultimately, it needs to remain simple, and it needs to remain affordable. I think the biggest single issue today, or frustration, is, and again, reference to the discussion prior to the break, is that the ISPs are launching all of these fantastic great services, fiber to the home, everything works great. Well, perceived to be. I'm buying a premium service, it's fiber, yet the experience I'm having as a consumer is not great, right? And it comes down to the quality of the access point that is utilized in the house. We cannot get away with, and I don't want to call any names, but we cannot get away with with the old days where you had an entry-level AP being able to service the demand. We just can't. You have to have a look beyond that, especially if you want to start offering over-the-top services, right? If you want to do voice over Wi-Fi, you're going to need a decent Wi-Fi system to support that. Let's have a look at a typical fiber to the home installation. Typically what the guys would do is they would pull the fiber to the home, they would put down the ONT unit as close to the street as possible. It might be in the garage. Now you take your average 600 Rand AP, stick it in the garage, and you expect to get coverage throughout the house. No, you're not. Okay? So there's a lot of design that goes into it that's required. You have to properly design your RF network, your Wi-Fi network, to service you properly. And you have to have a look at where you're going to deploy it. How many of you in the room have Wi-Fi extenders currently in your properties? Okay. Yeah. Again, Wi-Fi extenders are there to fill a gap, primarily in my view, because it wasn't designed properly. You're sitting with a device that's trying to do two things. I'm a modem, and then, by the way, I'll do a bit of Wi-Fi for you as well. Okay? Guys, it's not the way to do it. And the demands from the Internet of Things and over-the-top services that's available today, the ISPs, the WISPs need to take a serious look at the type of device you're deploying and the kind of service you want to roll with that device. There's no use getting 10 meg into the customer's house and you've got a 500 Rand product trying to service him at that. You just can't. The experience is going to be bad. Wi-Fi reporting is becoming a critical tool. A couple of years back, none of us thought about this kind of stuff on a Wi-Fi network, right? The mobile operators have had this for a number of years, so they can monitor the network, they can understand where the problems are, where the holes are, how to fix them, become more proactive, design the network better, etc. The same kind of tools are now available for Wi-Fi networks, campus networks, corporate networks, even home networks. You can understand the trends, including client fingerprint, the network throughput. Where am I having bad experiences? Higher density solutions. And you can predict your network scalability needs. Rather than wait for something to break before you go out and fix it, you can do this proactively. Something else that's becoming very, very hot topic at this point in time, specifically in the Wi-Fi area, and I'll explain to you now why, is location-based services. So with location-based services, you can trace user behavior inside a venue, such as a mall, okay? Large stands, stadiums, retail outlets. So why would you want to do location-based services? Well, it enables me to get information that I probably didn't have previously. with regards to my customer base. What age is my customer base? Okay? When do they typically shop? When I have got a promotion, do they actually go and buy? Okay? What is the busiest times of day? All of this information is valuable not to the traditional customer that we are used to talking with, the CTO. It's important for the marketers within the organization. Because if I know who my customer is, I can service his needs directly way better. Okay? So in other words, you'll start seeing when you enter a mall. Good day, Mr. Graham. There's a sale at Sportsman's Warehouse on tennis goods. Why would I get that SMS? Because it knows that I buy from Sportsman's, and my history dictates that I buy a lot of tennis goods. Okay, so it's getting much more focused to the individual. So this is becoming a very, very helpful tool to make sure that you reach the customer you want, when you want, and adapt your business according to their needs, instead of just doing a gunshot approach. This is the last slide I want to go through. Important though. Innovation in home and office Wi-Fi will generate alternative revenue streams through data analytics. Improved network equals better customer experience, which means your customer tends to stay happy. If the customer's happy, there's no reason for them to move somewhere else. LBS, it's marketing-rich content. It is in huge demand for retail and corporates. Okay? If you can give a corporate better insight into the way their business operates or functions, they are prepared to sit and listen what you've got to say. Managed services and support. Again, if you've got proper managed services, offerings, as well as support, you secure longer-term contracts, and you typically create stickiness with your customer base. And if you've got a sticky customer, that means he's less prone to move to a fiber-to-the-home operator, right? So my recommendation to the WISPs today is, traditionally, I think you guys did very well to provide internet services, but that's where it stopped. Okay? What you guys need to do is have a look at how you can diversify the service offering over the top services. It generates additional revenue streams. Why don't you offer Wi-Fi calling? When a customer goes into a gated community that is serviced by you, and you've got a cloud that covers that gated community, why don't you offer them an alternative to GSM? Everything is there to do it. So this is the kind of things we need to think about that can definitely drive diversified revenues, diversified business. Okay? Again, most of you guys, all of you guys, have existing customers. So how do we keep those customers? How do we keep them happy? How do we offer them diversified services, not just 100 meg? Right, and with that, I thank you. Any questions?
Right. Thanks very much, Riaan. We've got a little bit of time if anybody's got any questions. Have we got some roving mics around, or I can bring mine to you? There we go. So there was a gentleman over there and a gentleman over there after him. So Rod?
Okay, you made it pretty clear, and I'm in total agreement about the Wi-Fi deployment within a large home with a high access speed fiber. You've got to use some serious kit, multiple APs to give that coverage. And obviously, to get the throughput people want on that coverage, you're looking at 802.11 AC, 4x4, etc. And when the customer who's paid nothing or 1,000 rand to have that 100 meg line, 200 meg line installed, he gets a bit of a shock on the price. Sure. Once you've managed to get him over that price and resuscitate him, there's another problem that comes up when you're scared that he may pass out again, that you probably have to inform him that not only has he got to spend that money, that most of the devices he have are not AC compatible and certainly not AC 4x4. I think there's only one phone on the market that will support 4x4 MIMO on AC, and every entry-level laptop that comes from Game and Macro hasn't even got an AC Wi-Fi card. How, as a salesman of high-level Wi-Fi, do you broach that to the client?
Well, is this thing on? Okay. I think there's a misconception in the market versus the cost of AC versus an entry-level 500 Rand AP today. Our entry-level AC access point today will cost you, I'd say, probably 300 to 400 Rand more than a typical router modem. Okay, it's 2x2. We've done a lot of tests with this, even double-story buildings. The coverage area is good. Again, depending on where you install the AP. If you're going to connect it right to next to the ONT in the garage, you're going to have a problem, right? If you do the Wi-Fi portion, the edge installation properly, and the design is proper, your service will be good. So what I'm saying is you don't need 4x4 for a typical residence. Not at all. A business, different story, because their demands and needs are quite different. But typically businesses tend to be able to afford, slightly more advanced technologies as well. So I would definitely encourage you guys, have a look at what is available and have a look where it sits and if you can service the market with it. But it is definitely not $15,000. That I can
Just take
promise
a
you.
question from Walter, and then
Yeah.
maybe Johan, if he's very quick, and then we need to.
I'll try to be very fast. It's more of a comment and a plea. I've listened to everything you've said. Wireless is the future. Wi-Fi is a big ingredient in there. 5G will be coming. We've got OTT and IoT, smart homes, smart cities, and everything else. And you glossed over the need for the importance of the fiber. We hear that fiber is dead. Fiber to the home is dead. Without that fiber backhaul, and I think these presentations will emphasize that point, that it won't exist without the fiber backhaul.
Correct. I think if we go back a couple of slides, I said today fiber is king. Without fiber on the backhaul, we are dead, right? So fiber or broadband wireless access at high capacity remains the de facto requirement for us to be able to deliver these services in offices and or homes.
Right, now what if somebody, they've got this idea that Wi-Fi is this box that sits there and it just sucks out of the ether.
No, sure. Sure.
Sure.
Look, I think the key principle here remains that your plumbing needs to be good. Fiber's the plumbing, right? If I don't have plumbing in my house, I'm going to have water all over the place. Well, exactly. So if I don't have fiber or decent high-capacity backhaul, okay, I will not be able to have decent local access services. Okay? So that's the de facto requirement. Again, be it broadband wireless access or fiber, the fact of the matter is that the demands of the public and the corporates, it's going to increase like this, right? It's going nowhere else. Add on to that smart cities, right? Smart cities, again, there's way a lot more benefits to introducing smart cities, etc. There's productivity gains. There's reaching out to rural areas where you wouldn't typically justify. But again, I think that's a governmental play. And that's, I think, where they are strong. But for, the WISPs out here, again, the message from my side is you've got existing customers, paying customers. Understand what they need and make sure you've got the technology to back you to be able to deliver those diversified services. It's not just about the connectivity anymore.
I'll be quick. In terms of selling a managed Wi-Fi on top of everything else, is there a business case for it in South Africa? I know they're trying to do it in the US, but I mean, my experience has been you basically have to do it anyway. You're not going to be paid for it because if you don't solve that riddle, you'll end up sending someone there with with support trying to figure out what's going on. Do you think there's actually a business case for clients paying additional for the in-house Wi-Fi, residential specifically?
I think so, if you diversify the service that you're offering. If you're just offering the cable, no, I'm not going to pay for it. But if you're offering over-the-top services, for instance, all of a sudden, so let's introduce Wi-Fi calling, right? What about your security? We can offer you a CCTV, a Wi-Fi-based CCTV system, incorporated, and we'll manage it on your behalf. The customer, if he's not going to spend it with you, he's already spending it with someone else. If you make it easier for him on a single platform, then why not? But again, it can't just be the pipe.
Okay, guys, I think we need to finish up because we're starting to run over a little bit. Riaan, thank you so much
Thanks.
for your sharing
Thanks,
your
guys.
information.